Hi, good morning. Obviously, the US elections are going to dominate this week. We've got some fun stuff with oil. Tomorrow, I meet the management of Valero. We're going to have the Oxy results, which we talked about in our note yesterday. And then Phillips 66 are holding an analyst meeting on Wednesday. Last night, the news was dominated by more lockdowns in China, where I have no idea what these people think they're doing. And when I say these people, I think it's the totalitarian leadership. In March, I had spoken to a Beijing Oil CEO with knowledge of China, and I was saying there's a load of conspiracies as to why China is locking down. Was it to do with trying to affect the dollar? Was it trying to affect commodity markets? Any number of ideas. And what he told me is actually their vaccine sucks and they don't really know what they're doing. But if you think about what we've learned in the West about COVID, trying to go for COVID zero is just completely wrong-headed, and I'm just amazed they continue to pursue this policy. I think it's very sinister and ultimately idiotic, so we're just going to have to keep following that one. Obviously, it affects oil markets. So while the market has rallied from the Apple news last night, this morning into futures, what we're looking at is probably a Republican win, could be a majority of 3 in the Senate. We'll see tomorrow. The market's going to like that, although historically you've said that the oils do better under Democrats, and another oil CEO told me that he felt like he should be donating to the Democrats because they've been so good for the oil sector. It's been by far the best performing sector of Joe Biden's presidency, showing you what wrong-headed policies will bring you. So that's that. We sent you a note on Saturday, which got a lot of readership regarding reserves and inventory, particularly for Coterra with a major write-down and Pioneer with deteriorating marginal well performance. That is to say, at the margin, their well performance is deteriorating. And that just underlines the fact that we've got a global energy supply problem, because if the US is the swing producer of oil, which it is, given that Saudi is telling you that they're maxed out on capacity and will only add 1 million barrels a day by 2026 with a lot of spending, essentially at the margin we're dependent pretty much on a few countries. One is obviously Guyana. There are major issues in Canada at a huge discount of Canadian oil right now on takeaway problems. Really what you're looking at is the Permian to supply the growth, and at the moment the marginal performance in the Permian is clearly slowing. So that becomes a very bullish story for oil on the supply side if the demand side keeps up. And at the moment, demand has proved itself to be very resilient to high prices, but it will tend to trade on China. And as long as China keeps messing up with this stupid COVID policy, oil is going to be under pressure. Also in the note, we highlighted that as the SPR rolls off, which is the other part of the bull case here, and I was very happy to see my friend Mike Sullivan at Goldman quoted in Zero Hedge at length, actually talking about the issues that make you bullish oil right here. The issues being the end of COVID zero in China, ironically, but also the end of the SPR releases, heading into winter with Russian sanctions coming up. You can be very bullish oil here, I think, and we've put in a target of $120 oil by driving season of 2023, which would be May 2023. And I think that's easily achievable. And so we're looking for good companies with good inventory and good Brent leverage, because we're arguing that as the SPR rolls off, you actually maxed out in many ways how much oil, US oil, can be absorbed in the US, and you're dependent on exports. The SPR was being exported incrementally into global markets, including China. And as the SPR rolls off, you're going to reduce US exports. And that, of course, will be bullish for Brent and relatively unaffecting for WTI. WTI should be under upward pressure as refineries come back. Amongst the companies we're highlighting, we like Diamondback, we like ConocoPhillips. We're talking about CRC, a small Californian CO2 play that is also directly Brent levered. Exxon, I think, does well here. And we're talking about E&I quite a bit at the moment. If you want to buy a European, we think John Rigby as new IR, who was on Happy Hour last week, will do a lot to get the multiple expanded there. But generally, the Europeans are doing better because they've become so discounted that even American investors are finally prepared to buy these things. And on refining, as I said, just watch out for Valero and Phillips this week. Sell-side meeting with the CEO tomorrow for Valero, and for PSX analyst meeting. And then, of course, the Oxy results. We're looking for big results, and we believe that Warren Buffett is very long the stock, owning 20% of the company in order to maintain a very rigorous capital discipline. Although Oxy looks expensive, I think strategy will remain very shareholder friendly because of the #1 shareholder. All right, have a great week.